What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And today we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics and what's really going on with their season so far. Let's get into it.
The Boston Celtics are currently 20-21 and have slid all the way down to the 8th seed. And currently, right now, they are 2 games away from not even being in the play-in tournament. What is going on in Boston?
The last time we talked about the Boston Celtics, they were number 5 in the East. I am so sad, actually. I don't want to say disappointed because I believe they are going through something. I don't know what it is, but it appears that they are lacking energy. And especially when they work hard or when their shot is not hitting, it's over. The game is absolutely over because you can tell in their whole posture that something has changed. So I just don't know if they're happy. Like, are you supposed to be happy when you play basketball, making all this money? Probably, but they're not. Something is missing.
It's too bad because, if you look at Jaylen and Jayson's stats, the stats alone, they're phenomenal.
I know.
They're playing really well, but now I'm wondering if maybe their roles need to be established. Does Jayson know that he's the first option? Does Jaylen accept the fact that Jayson is the first option? Is there something going on there with that dynamic?
I don't think so. I believe that they're clear on what their roles are. I believe Jaylen knows that Jayson is the first option. I think so. And I believe that Jayson also respects the fact that Jaylen can step in when it's not working for me. And I think their connection is not the issue on the court. I don't think that's what it is. However, I do know that Kemba Walker, whatever you think, have you looked at his stat line year over year?
Kemba,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it ain't working. Kemba.
Kemba, no. And you have always been the biggest supporter for Kemba Walker, but I think your faith is starting to linger a little bit. Kemba, I'm disappointed in Kemba. They brought him here. He's the highest paid player on the roster right now. And we're not getting anything from Kemba. It's very sporadic. He's very inconsistent. He's out here smiling and having a good time, so it seems. And they're not winning games. Right now, there's nothing to smile about. The Boston Celtics are sliding all the way down, and it looks like they may not even make it to the play-in tournament.
I'm devastated. Because they need some type of jolt to get them back on track. And I think it's not Jaylen and Jayson. I don't think that's where it is. Come on, we talked about it. They're looking pretty good, right? Yeah. Kemba, who's supposed to be that third cushion piece, is hit and miss. They miss Marcus Smart. Now we have Marcus Smart back. So maybe he is the gel that can bring the energy to the team again. Maybe that's what's missing. But then aside from those 4, who else? What veteran is on the bench right now making sure they're good? Please tell me.
There's nobody. And that's part of the problem too. Where's the veteran leadership? They have Tristan Thompson.
Okay, again.
But
where's the veteran leadership? That is it for me. You have these teams that will have veteran leadership. The Lakers have Jared Dudley.
Right. Jared is a vocal leader. I'll give him that. Jared is a vocal leader. The Boston Celtics, they do not have that right now.
They don't have veteran that right now. You know what? And then, so I think maybe that's what's missing.
It is.
Who is their Udonis Haslem? Who is it for them? Maybe that's what they need. It can help them, because they need somebody other than Brad, right? Maybe they are tired of hearing Brad, but maybe Brad can still do it because I'm a Brad fan. I do believe they need some other voice. Who is that for them?
First of all, when all else fails, the head coach is supposed to bring the team together. Come on now. I am not a Brad Stevens fan, and I do believe that they have started to tune him out. But that's the easy way out, right?
Yes.
just to blame it on the coach.
Yes.
I don't want to blame it on Brad, but I do
Mhm.
think he's part of the problem. I think you nailed it when you said they don't have that veteran leader to help pull the team together, to give them that. But Marcus Smart, if I can just touch on him, he's their heart and soul.
He
He
is.
can do it. He can bring everybody together and try to get them back on the right track, but it's not looking good right now.
And, to be honest, he is their veteran leader. I mean, he has been on the Boston Celtics since he got into the league.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that usually, I don't know. No, then that's exactly what it is. So it has to be Marcus Smart. He's just coming back. So maybe he'll have the time now that he's playing to get back into the groove of things. But they needed to happen immediately because
Yeah,
that team is suffering from confidence. That is what they're suffering from.
Marcus Smart, Jaylen, and Jayson, they got to be just a couple of years difference in age, right? They're all young guys.
That's
So,
true.
but I do think they need someone who has a little bit more, time on the planet to like a veteran, somebody who's been there, done that, maybe won a championship before. Tristan could be that guy. He is a champion, but maybe he's lacking. I have a friend of mine who is a diehard Boston everything fan. I mean, from
Mhm.
the Boston Celtics to the Patriots to what else do they have? The Bruins and of course the Celtics. And she asked me, she said, "You know what? Did the bubble break the Boston
Mm.
Celtics?" And I'm like, "Oh, did it?
Did
Did
the
it break
bubble
them?"
did the bubble break the Boston Celtics? Drop down in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are about that question. Because that's something we need to unpack. If you think about it, they was able to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and they lost to the Heat 2-4. So it wasn't a sweep. What was that called? A gentleman's sweep? But they end up going home. I don't know the answer to that. What's your thoughts?
I think there's a good possibility that it did because if I'm being honest, I don't think they've recovered from it.
Mm,
There are still lingering effects, and they're probably wondering, okay, if we play well this season and we make it to the playoffs, is that going to happen again? Do we have enough? They haven't added any other pieces to make sure that they are able to overcome that. So quite naturally, it's like, oh, okay, is that going to happen again? And maybe there's some kind of fear. There's a fear factor there too. I don't know. Is this self-sabotage? I don't know, but all I know is they're slipping down in the seedings and they may not have to worry about it.
And you know what? Another thing too. Remember that press conference that Danny Ainge had when he admitted to not
That's
bringing
right.
in additional players to help with the roster. I could be mincing my words, but in something to that effect.
Mhm.
Do you wonder if post that interview and that revelation being told to the media that the team is like, you want us to fail? Like, what all of that could play into how the Boston Celtics players currently see themselves.
I agree. I forgot all about that. You're right. Danny doesn't even believe in them. He said they don't have enough talent to make it to the next level. So it's like, okay, you can take it either way. We talked about this. Either it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't think we're good enough, or okay, I'll show you. And right now, I think they're probably like, oh, you don't think we're good enough? Maybe we aren't. Their
Ah,
confidence is lacking right now.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Danny, it's your fault.
It's Danny. I blame him and I blame Brad.
Not Brad. Brad is doing the best with Danny. Ainge, fix it. You got until March 25th to get it together. Fix it. Fix it.
Mhm. Well, I mean, Danny can get ousted himself. So
Well,
you
it's
know,
clear. It's clear Brad don't want to go nowhere. I love it here. My family loves it here in Boston. I root for the Patriots. If you heard the press conference, he was certain that he should stay here and that being a college coach is nowhere in his desire. I hope they get a coach that can be there for 30 years. That's what he said.
oh my gosh. Okay, so the Boston Celtics had no business losing teams. They lost to Sacramento, they lost to Cleveland, And there's an opportunity for them to pick up a couple of wins here because they have a couple of other games against losing squads. Maybe this is the time for them to pull it together and try to move up in the standings.
I hope so. But unfortunately, even if they were to do that to losing teams, the way the roster is constructed and how I believe they feel about what this roster looks like individually, maybe what they're going through, even if they were to win against those teams, they're not going to be able to beat these other teams that have winning records as well. Unless
And
they change they have to change their culture. Like it's
Mhm.
something, it's culture related, continuity, chemistry. I don't think it's chemistry though, but something is missing. And so even if they were to win, they're going to eventually lose anyway.
Yeah, I don't see the Celtics the way that they're playing right now getting out of the first round. If they even make it.
If they make it, they're
Yes.
on the verge of being outside of the plan.
This is a storied franchise. The Boston Celtics, you got to make it to the playoffs every year.
No, and it would be okay, but they have Jayson and Jaylen. You explain to me why you have these two stars on your team and you don't give them pieces that you admit to not doing. And now they're on the verge of slipping right out of a play-in tournament that the NBA decided to include for this season as well. Should they tank at this point?
You can't tank with two superstars. You
Okay.
absolutely can't.
Yeah, I agree. But maybe it'll make them feel better. Y'all, we just don't have it this season. It's just, you know what, y'all, it's a wash. Let's just go and finish these few games out and let's go and finally get an full off season of rest.
I'm serious. If the Boston Celtics can get a suitor for Kemba Walker and bring in another point guard, I don't need him to average double points. I need him to just facilitate the game. Is Kyle Lowry a good pick for the Boston Celtics?
Let me tell you something. That Kyle Lowry can be on a couple of teams in my mind. But maybe. Oh, you talking about veteran leadership? Been there, done that? Kyle Lowry. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you right now, Toronto.
Forget about it.
It's been real. Forget about it. Forget about it. It's been real. No.
Yeah.
But do they got the money?
If they can do a 1-for-1, Cal for Kemba, hey, you know what? Drop down in the comments and let us know if you still have faith in Kemba Walker and what he's able to do for this current Boston Celtics roster. Please. All right, you guys, that wraps up this episode on the Boston Celtics. Make sure you engage us in the comments because we are very interested to know if you still believe in the Boston Celtics in their current roster right now. The playoffs are coming. Are they really going to contend in the Eastern Conference? Please drop down and let us know. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you guys on the next one. But until then,
peace.
Peace, y'all.